Good morning and welcome into another episode of Let's Bet It. I'm Alex Glaze. He's Mark Zinno. Zinno, a lot to get to as we look toward tonight's slate. And briefly, just take a little moment on what happened yesterday. I know you have a lot to say about, about how that Warriors game and Jabara and myself, as we were both sitting on Warriors -2 for our plays of the day yesterday. But that's not why you. So why don't you just let people know why you want to chirp at me a little bit to start the show? Let's just get this out the way.
See what that says? That right there. 9:27 yesterday morning, folks. I sent Alex Glaze a text message. Glaze, I know you're on the show this morning, buddy. You want two PODs that are absolute winners? Here they are. And I handed you out a NRFI and a K-prop. And you decided to neglect them both. And of course, both of them hit. So that's my I told you so. I gave you the Boston-Baltimore NRFI at a very good even money price and the Luis Severino K under at a very moderate plus 122. And you ignored them both and to your detriment. Now, in fairness to you, I was also on the Warriors -2. So I felt a lot of pain. I had a brutal Sunday. I had a bad beat in baseball. And then Klay Thompson missing those two free throws was the cherry on top of what was a bad Sunday betting for me.
Well, it's not even the Klay Thompson free throws were bad. But then, and we'll get into this with Scal later on in the show, but the officiating in that game was just bad from start to finish.
Yeah,
and it was just the cherry on top, that the biggest call of the game right there for bettors, and two, to actually decide the game, that out of bounds call. Nobody makes a call. And then I need Scal to explain this to me like I'm 5 years old, how in 2022 we don't just go to the review to see whose ball it is. Why is that a jump ball? I need someone to explain that to me, because if we get one more inbounds, maybe we can get a push, because that was clearly Warriors ball. Maybe we can get a push, maybe we get a win, but I think we're still going to get another foul. We're going to have a shot at this thing, but obviously that didn't happen. And, my Warriors -2 ticket just ended up getting ripped in half. So not a great Sunday for me.
No.
Yeah.
Brutal Sunday.
But we have a lot more basketball to talk about later on today. We're going to have Brian Scalabrine join the show. But before that, we're going to talk some baseball, then finish things off with some hockey as we get ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs, which start tonight. And then finish things off with our plays of the day. So without further ado, Zinno, let's bet it. And let's start with Better Up. Talk some baseball. YRFIs, 8-7 yesterday. They are now 170 and 161 on the season, and you'd be down 7.52 units if you just blindly bet every yes run first inning. And the White Sox lead Major League Baseball at 14-7 with yes run first innings. I don't have any NRFIs or YRFIs to give out today to the people. Do you have any that you would like to discuss?
I do. One that I'll play, one that will hit, but I'm just not paying the price. I've talked repeatedly about how this bet, and you just gave out the numbers about if you blindly bet a unit on all these, this is where you'd be. And that is because you cannot play the juice that you're paying on a routine basis, given the NRFIs and the YRFIs, and expect to make money over the long haul. It's just not going to happen. You have to find things that are priced accurately. So let's start with that one first. And it's the Mets and the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Miami Marlins. These are two of the lowest scoring teams in Major League Baseball when it comes to runs in the first inning. Miami 29th out of 30 teams, Arizona 26th out of 30 teams. This is -164 to no run in the first inning. I'm just never paying that price, period. This is going to hit because these are two offensively inept teams. But that said, I can't endorse paying that price. If you're comfortable doing it, knock yourself out. I am not, but I'm telling you, this is going to hit. There's not going to be any runs scored in the first inning of this game. It's just way too much juice to pay on any given day to pay nearly 1.6 to 1. It doesn't work out the math for me. The other one is the Yankees and Toronto. No run in the first inning here, and that's a modest -114, which I can stomach a lot more. These are two teams that know each other well. Two starters in the game, Jordan Montgomery and Ross Stripling. Neither one of these guys have gotten a ton of run support here. Yankees are coming off the sweep of the Royals, primed for a little bit of a letdown spot here. They've struggled with Toronto, and Toronto has a very interesting game yesterday against Houston that they end up gutting out a 1-run win. I know a lot of people put these two teams together and think that they will score a bunch. They won't. It'll be a low-scoring affair tonight, and you'll get out of the first inning without any runs on a NRFI -114 Yankees and Blue Jays.
I like that. Well, I do have a baseball play I want to discuss. It's actually moving. So if you are listening and you like this, you might want to hop on this quickly because the numbers are definitely changing here. Pablo Lopez, 6 or more strikeouts, was plus 106 on FanDuel 30 minutes ago. Now it's -122. He's facing the Diamondbacks tonight. Still even money on DraftKings, though, so definitely still shop around. So you can still find some plus money there, or even money at least. But Pablo Lopez, off to a great start this season. 4 starts, 6+ strikeouts in all but one of those starts. 23 strikeouts and 23 1/3 innings of work. And I'm looking at this Diamondbacks team. They have the most strikeouts versus right-handed pitchers this season. Seems like a great spot for a Marlins pitcher who's off to one of the better starts in baseball so far this season. So I'm really liking him, and I like that price at plus 106 that I got it at this morning. Again, still even money on DraftKings, down to -122 on FanDuel. So definitely shop around, but that seems like a great prop to check out tonight.
Yeah, and I have a prop in the same game. I'm on the other side with Zach Gallen's strikeout prop, over 5.5, and he's at -112 up against Miami. You mentioned it before about how bad Arizona is as a strikeout team. Miami's actually worse, if you could believe that. 29th in the league in K rate. Zach Gallen, in his last 2 starts against the Dodgers and Mets, 2 very good, not high K rate teams. He struck out 12 batters in 11 innings. He's going to easily get to this number here, and at a very moderate -112, like him to get me outs tonight against the Miami Marlins.
Love it. That's your only other baseball play that you have?
Only other my other one is my play of the day, so we will hold it until later on in the show.
Hold it. All right, we're still waiting for Brian Scalabrine to join the show, but we will transition and start talking a little basketball here because I'm looking at the chat right now, Zeno, and friend of the show Brian Johnson said that the reason that we got that inbounds instead of the replay is because of a new rule that started this season. I did not know that.
They mentioned it on the broadcast that they didn't automatically go to review because the games were taking too long and it was slowing down the pace and everything. So coaches needed a challenge to be able to have it reviewed, and neither one of them had a challenge at that point in time.
Does this expose me as a guy? Oh, Scal's here. Okay, let's bring in Scal to break this down here because I believe I just got exposed for being a guy that watches these games on mute, things kind of while I'm multitasking. I can never do one thing at one time here. So let's bring on Brian Scalabrine to talk things out. Scal, the rule change. Oh, I mean, that's a brutal rule change. I mean, I get wanting to speed up the game, but in that spot to not go through the review and to have a jump ball, like first of all, it burned my Warriors -2 ticket. I mean, Klay Thompson, kind of had me ball it up, but the jump ball made me rip it in half. So, sure. I mean, what are your thoughts on the rule change and not going to the replay there?
So I disagree with the new rule, the way that they do it. It's like if the ball goes out of bounds and someone says Memphis basketball, you have a review, you can challenge it. I do think like if the referees don't know, why do we go to the jump ball? And the last 2 minutes, like I'm fine with the jump ball. I'm even fine with the jump ball in the regular season. And I'm fine with the jump ball for the first 46 minutes. But if you literally say, I don't know who it went out of bounds on, why don't we just go and figure that thing out really quick? How many times do you ever see a referee say, I don't know? Like maybe 5 times a year where they're just like, I don't know, I didn't see it. So let's just get that call right.
All the rest that I don't know.
Yeah, I totally disagree. I understand the point of speeding the game up, and I don't want to see it throughout the 46 minutes. But the last 2 minutes of a game, like last year, it was out of control. The players would wave their finger. All of a sudden, we would review everything. Coaches would do that. They would get free timeouts out of it. I'm okay, but at that point, just go to the monitor and let's just figure it out. Let's just get it right. But yeah, man. How odd was it to see Klay Thompson at the free throw line? How nervous did he look at that free throw line? From a basketball standpoint, and this guy's he was 90% this year, 85%, but he never set himself. He was like moving. And like, I was like, what are you doing? This is Klay Thompson, one of the most clutch players out there. But, like he hasn't been in a big moment like this in a long time. Playoffs are different than regular season. But I feel bad for you if you had that ticket.
No, it was brutal.
I feel bad for us. Yes, very bad for us.
We're going to talk about the Celtics in a second here, but I want to stay with this game for a second here and talk about that Draymond Green ejection, because we can talk about that officiating for that game all show if we really wanted to. But your thoughts on that ejection? Did you see enough for a flagrant 2 there? And do you think that had more to do with Draymond's reputation in the league more so than the call that should have been made in that moment? What were your thoughts seeing that ejection?
Combination. A lot of people missed, like if they just saw it on social media, they missed like the hit to the head that dragged down to the face, into the jersey. Now, I don't think he threw him to the ground. I think as that happened, at that point, he's holding him up. So you add in, the hit to the head, which is a 1, automatic. The jersey could be another 1. And then I think they just looked at it like 1 + 1 = 2. And yes, if that was a different combination of player versus, like if Steph Curry is grabbing John Moran, I'm not sure that he's getting kicked out. So I think everything goes into play there. But he did hit him across the head and he did grab the jersey. If he just hit him across the head, I don't think it would have been. If he missed the head and just grabbed the jersey, I think it would have been a flagrant 1. But I think when you add it all in, it kind of does add up to a flagrant 2.
Yeah, I get it, Scal, and I'm with you. But my general, Draymond Green has the reputation of being the guy who will push you from behind and grab your jersey to hold you up. The only reason you're falling is because he pushed you, right? Like, sure. I thought he held on to the jersey a little bit longer than he needed to. In my opinion, he definitely yanked him down. Now, he wasn't going to let him hit the ground hard, so he yanks him down, and then he catches him because, there's plausible deniability there. Why would I catch him if I pulled him to the ground kind of deal? So I think a lot of it had to do with it being Draymond more than anything else. If it was any other Warriors player on the floor, that's a flagrant 1 and life goes on.
Yeah, I think the one thing that these flagrants do is it sends a message. Like the NBA doesn't want flagrant fouls. It's 4 minutes and 28 seconds. They don't want those plays. They want things to be fast. They want games to be fast. Like, like in today's generation and who's watching games, there's other places you could turn the TV to, and they found that when that happens, people turn and they don't want to see that anymore. So they want to clean that up. So this could be a message that we're not messing around. You guys got to clean this thing up. We just want clean basketball and in a quote unquote way, not a basketball play. So I kind of understand why they went that direction.
But it was jarring as a viewer to go from watching that Celtics-Bucks game and how physical that game was. That was a good game. It was just a good physical playoff basketball game. To go and see the weak calls that were in that Warriors group, it was just there's no consistency, at least for me as a viewer. Did you kind of see it the same way as a former player? There wasn't really that consistency across the board with the officiating.
One thing that we have to look at, and so this is something, so from now on when you're watching, especially in the playoffs, when you think of physicality, like you could be physical on the ball and a guy is driving to the basket and you can have hands on them and you can body check a guy, right? But when a player is going up into their shooting motion, you better be off of that player and you better meet him in the air. Like the Bucks did a great job. Not just Giannis. Well, first of all, they did a great job at the rim, but Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Javon Carter, obviously Drew Holiday's elite at what he does, but all these guys play what I call great position defense. I'm not allowing you to go both directions. I'm going to force you one way. I'm going to put my chest on your shoulder, which opens up the lane, and I am forcing you into my backline defense. So for the Celtics, like players in general don't like to be told what to do. Think about this. Players want freedom. They want to be like, man, coach is tripping. I want to do me. But they also don't like when the defense tells them what to do, which is you're not getting to your right hand, and I am forcing you to drive into help. And now all of a sudden that I am dictating what you're going to do today, and that's what the Bucks did. And everyone's like, Middleton's out. I was like a little bit hesitant when I found out that Middleton's out because they start Giannis, Portis, and they start Brook Lopez. No matter what's going on the floor, there's always going to be one of those three guys at the rim. And I know what beats the Celtics. Shot blocking beats the Celtics, and random ball movement, random play. Structured ISO, they're going to cook you. Celtics are going to guard, and everyone's going to talk about them being the best team in the NBA. Randomness and shot blockers, it is affected by the Celtics. Now, they get a chance to go back to the drawing board. I've seen them make adjustments when they have these mini 2-game series, so I can see that. But the physicality of the Bucks was what I call appropriate physicality. Hard nose on the ball, meet you at the rim. Everything in between, they're not bumping guys or anything like that. I call that funneling defense, and it was very impressive.
Scala, here's what I don't know about the Celtics for game 2, because I guarantee you, if you had told the Celtics before game 1, you're going to keep Milwaukee to 41% shooting from the field and 35% from 3, they would go, yep, take it, done. That's what we want. Those are the numbers defensively that we want to hit. That's the game that we're going to play. We're comfortable there. What I didn't expect to see was the Milwaukee defense, which never really was pushed in the Chicago series at all. I mean, they had to play like 4 games of 2.5 quarters of basketball, right? Like they never just got challenged.
Sure.
And maybe the question is, did Boston take advantage of a very bad Nets defense and play a little bit offensively above their heads? And is Milwaukee going to be able to sustain that level of defense and keep Boston at bay offensively for a second game in a row? That's what I'm not 100% sure of yet.
Well, I'll help you with that one, right? So everything is matchup based in the NBA. The Celtics, the Nets are a great matchup for the Celtics. And let me just say this, that, you know, the way I just described them guarding Tatum and Brown, you can't guard Kevin Durant like that. He'll just yak you into a pull-up jumper all night long. He will wear Javon Carter on Kevin Durant's hip, or Pat Connaughton or Grayson Allen, even Drew Holiday, the great Drew Holiday. Kevin Durant's just getting to a spot, he's elevating, he's knocking down mid-range jumpers with guys in his face. It doesn't matter. So the matchup for the Celtics of guarding guys, isolation, perfect matchup for them. This is not a great matchup for them. But with that being said, they have what you call expected field goal percentage. The Celtics expected field goal percentage, using expected, which are to make time that with effective, it was closer to 60%. So you add in all the wide open corner threes that they missed and all the shots that they got. So they weren't turning the ball over at that's such a high rate, even though, think about this. I think 14 turnovers for Milwaukee. Celtics converted 6 points off of that. Okay. 18 turnovers for the Celtics. Milwaukee converts 27 points off of those turnovers. So there's a lot of expected and effective that goes into there. Bottom line, Celtics are going to shoot a lot better in that second game. And by the way, I love the Celtics money line. I don't usually like to load up when teams have like a pot, like a money line where you got to put big money on. If the Celtics lose this game, it is like they are a disaster of a team. Make the right adjustment, get the right shots, and play with a lot more energy, focus. And I just thought they were a little shell-shocked by the Bucks. So I don't know what's going to happen in this series. I said Celtics in 7 because I'm just banking on the TD Garden. But I really love the Celtics in game 2. And I think this is going to be more of a closer series than people are giving it credit for.
Let's stay in the East, Scal, and let's talk about tonight's game. Let's start with the Sixers Heat game. Miami laying 7.5 points. Obviously, the big news with that one, Joel Embiid not making the trip to Miami because of, you know, his injuries that he's dealing with. The total set at 208.5. Your thoughts? My initial thoughts, just looking, that's a lot of points for a playoff basketball game. But what do you think of when you're looking at this game and this matchup?
So I hate game ones, right? Because you got Embiid out. There's that initial, like, Embiid's out. Let's shock the world, right? Tyrese Maxey goes for 40. So James Harden doesn't go out in Miami until after the game tonight, and he's like unbelievable, right? No, like no booby trap, no nothing like that for James Harden. So I'm with you on the points. So I like Philly today, but Miami has some injuries. You know, like they're coming off.
Lowry's also out, yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you're twisting my arm on this, like you're twisting my arm to say I'm going to go with Philly with the points. But a guy, I like Tyrese Maxey to have a big night tonight. I think what he does is going to be a problem for the Miami Heat. Like just his energy that he plays with. Remember, no Embiid in the post. So what does that mean? There's like they might run small lineups. Like if you like overs, you could take the over in this one. It's 208. Embiid, in general, as good as he is offensively, he does slow teams down. And pace and space ends up, they might not be as good defensively. So I like the over in this. If you twisted my arm, I would say Philadelphia on the points. And I like Tyrese Maxey on the overs today because I just feel like this is the type of game that he lives for. First of all, you're in Miami. He's probably got 4 or 5 people in the stands coming to watch him play because people want to go down to Miami because of the weather and all that stuff. So that's where I stand with this one. But I really like to make adjustments after game 1 and kind of see a series. But you're twisting my arm. That's what I gave you.
I'll add to that, Scal, in the sense of the Philadelphia 76ers here. For me, this is still about Philadelphia's defense, keeping Miami's offense in check. Miami's offense is good, but albeit it didn't explode against a bad Hawks defense. They didn't get 120 in all those games. The Hawks defense isn't good, and they were in the 105, 110 range for most of those games. So I still think Philadelphia's defense can keep this close enough to keep it within 7.5 points. It's just sort of one of those things where I'm with you. I think the over comes in because the number has been way too adjusted, but those two sort of fly in the face of one another, right? Like somebody's going to have to score, and it's likely not going to be Philadelphia without Joel Embiid to push that total over. It'll more likely be Miami. But I just think for me, this series is still about defense between these two teams. And although Embiid is out, Philadelphia's defense is still pretty complete with the players that they have.
Really? So are you expecting Miami to struggle without Embiid in the middle? Like that's why I wonder. Like with Bam Adebayo, he can't go against guys who are huge. Bam Adebayo, by the way, 6'9", 235. Like that's like Bill Russell back in the day. Like he's going against Embiid at 290. Like that wears on you. So I'm like
putting out DeAndre Jordan
and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying DeAndre Jordan. I'm trying to think of who else is going to be out there. DeAndre
isn't
Jordan.
Isn't Tybalt the backup sort of replacement for Embiid?
No. They have another big man that I'm drawing a blank.
I think
he's going to be DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, I can't imagine DeAndre Jordan playing any type of defense. He can't play at that pace. So big game for him. I look at it like I'm with you when it comes to both teams on paper should be in a slugfest, but. If you look at Embiid is what makes it a slugfest. Anytime Philadelphia doesn't have 2 good possessions, they walk the ball up and throw it to Embiid, or they go in 2-man game. This could be a James Harden 14 assist special. This could be a Tyrese Maxey 43-point special. I just feel like the game this could be a Bam Adebayo 20, 10, and 8 special. So I just feel like this is the type of game where even though both teams should match up and should be beating each other up, I'm watching this and I'm thinking that this is not going to end up like that, at least game 1. After that, they can make some adjustments. But I look at the 2-0, it's 208.5. I'm thinking 115 here. I think this is going to be much more scoring than we're used to as both teams kind of figure out what life looks like without Joel Embiid.
Well, along that line of thinking.
I could call Millsap. Sorry, Glaze, go ahead.
No. I love that reaction, Scal. I'm going to throw 2 props at you, Scal. Tell me what you think, because we're talking about Joel Embiid and what it's going to look like without him in the middle there. So I have 2 props that are somewhat centered around that line of thinking. Tobias Harris, over 7.5 rebounds, right? Somebody's got to do the rebounding. And I'm looking at Harris, went over that number in 3 of 4 regular season games against the Heat and 4 of 6 games against the Raptors last series. And actually recorded double-digit rebounds in those 4 games that he went over against the Raptors. So I think Harris is a guy that's going to be grabbing the boards today for the Sixers. And then on the other side, I think Jimmy Butler over 24.5 points at even money is a steal here. I mean, Zeno mentioned that bad Hawks defense. I get that. Average 30 points against the Hawks. But without Embiid, Jimmy Butler likes to attack, and he likes to attack the paint. And I think without Embiid down there, he's going to be able to do just that and take advantage of what I'm expecting the Sixers to be a little soft inside today. So I think Jimmy's going to be aggressive, and I think he's going to be able to fly over that 24.5 mark. And I think even money, you're getting a little bit of value there too.
So Philadelphia, so this they don't like the help off of 3-point shooters, right? Because they have Joel Embiid. Can they make the adjustment on the fly and all of a sudden be an overhelp team? When you're small, like we just talked about it with the Bucks, right? The Bucks don't have to overhelp. They got Brook Lopez, Giannis, and Portis at the basket, so they can like sort of hold out on those threes. But I do like the Jimmy Butler over. The Tobias Harris, don't you feel like you're going to be sweating this one out all the way down the stretch? Like,
no. I love sweaty. I want to sweat. I want to watch the whole game. It's no fun watching a game until like halftime or something. I want to watch the whole game and be like on the edge of my seat watching for my guy. That's how I like to watch.
I don't like this one. Tobias Harris could be chasing around Max Strus or Duncan Robinson and have no chance of getting any board. Miami could go all shooting and he could be on the perimeter guarding 3-point shooters and not coming back to rebound. Like if he's going to match up with, and by the way, Bam Adebayo plays at the top of the key. So I don't know who's going to be the low man in that defense. So you want to sweat this one out, go ahead. But I'll take the over the Jimmy Butler 24 and a half. I'm not going to see you guys before the Celtic game, but I'm going to leave you guys with this. Okay.
Yes.
The Celtics, they're going to play better. They need to pass the ball better, and they need to make threes. Like they shot 50 of them. And by the way, I was running a lot of over assist numbers, like with Tatum, over rebound numbers with Rob, and over 3-point made. You know, almost every guy on the Celtics hit their over except for Tatum and Brown. I think even Brown ended up making his over on 3-point field goals made. So what's going to happen in game 2 with the Celtics is a lot more passing, so the assist numbers will go up, and a lot more 3-point field goals made. So that's the angle you're going to have to play if you believe the Celtics have something in them. If you don't believe that because there's no chance them winning. Like I said, they scored 89 points, and most guys hit the over, and Tatum hit his assist number. Can you imagine if they were making shots, what his assist numbers would have been? So that's going to be the way that the Celtics win this. They are not letting Brown and Tatum beat you at the rim. So it's going to have to come to the ball movement. So if you're looking and you like Celtics in this second game, look for ball movement, so assist numbers and 3-point field goals made.
Love it. All right, Scout, before we get you out of here, we got to talk about the West Coast game tonight, the game that's past my bedtime, but it's playoff basketball. I got to stay up for it. We're going to talk about that Suns game tonight. Suns Mavs. The Suns are laying 5.5 points. That total at 214. Zeno is on the over in this game. I have some props for you, but Scout, just want to start your initial thoughts when you're looking at this line.
Man, I would much rather give you guys advice if I watch game 1. One guy I like in this game is Brunson in game 1. I still think that Phoenix is going to do a good job of trying to take away Luka Doncic and everything that entails. And I think they're I know Brunson, he just averaged 28 points a game in round 1, but I still think if you're going into the series, you're looking at Luka. I think, like, personally, I think the Mavericks are going to kind of shock people. Like, the Suns are a little maybe shell-shocked from that New Orleans series. Mavericks can play a lot of different styles. So I'm going to go with the Mavs on the money line today. Like I said, I don't love these game 1s because you're guessing on what's going to be. I'd much rather look at a game 1 and say, like, all right, here's what's going to happen. These are the adjustments. But, like, my initial thought is that the Phoenix Suns are not ready for the different style of play that the Mavericks play compared to the way that the Pelicans played. So, it's a lot like betting on Chris Paul not being prepared, or the Suns and Suns at home and all that stuff. But I do like the Mavericks. Were you guys a little bit surprised that it was 5.5 when you think about these two teams going into round 2?
Yes and no. I mean, I was surprised based off of, and that's recency bias right there that they've removed, right? You're surprised by it because of how much Phoenix had to struggle to get past New Orleans and without Devin Booker. But when you're looking at the lines comparatively for these two teams for their regular season games, that number has come down from what it was during the regular season by 2 or 3 points. And so, if this was a regular season game, this is a 6 or 7 point spread. And that makes it a lot different. So you can't just bring it back down to 3 points because you'll have way too many people on one side in Phoenix based off of what you saw in the regular season. Remember, you can't really use what they did in the previous series as the measure of how they're going to play a completely different team in a fresh new series. So, and I think you saw that with Boston, the way they handled, the Brooklyn Nets in a completely different matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. So I wasn't totally surprised. There still has to be a lot of confidence, and the Phoenix Suns this year are probably a more publicly bet team because they're higher scoring and they have some bigger stars as opposed to Dallas, where it's just Luka and a team that's more defensive minded, and nobody enjoys watching that.
Just adding to that, I went into the playoffs thinking no chance at all that the Dallas Mavericks beat the Phoenix Suns. But like exactly what you just said, like I really liked the way that they played against the Jazz, and I really did not like the way that the Suns played against the Pelicans. So I might be also jaded by what I saw, because like if you asked me before the playoffs, I probably would have said, nah, man, Suns are going to sweep them. Like they're just too much. They have an answer for all the positions, but like I'm a human being, just like all these other like idiots betting out there and thinking, yeah, watch out, the Mavericks, they look really good against Utah, which I told you guys, Utah, they're a flawed team, man. So I am definitely overreacting. But I told you with a disclaimer, I hate betting game ones and looking at like game ones and saying, all right, this is what's going to happen. Because, man, like every series takes a life of its own. And even like from 1 to 2, it has like a sort of like a different feel to it.
And I think the Phoenix Suns have proven. Go ahead, Glaze. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think the Phoenix Suns have proven that they can win games without Devin Booker, and they can score to a, not the same amount, but close to the same amount without him. But of course, it takes monumental efforts from Chris Paul. But when I looked at this game and I broke down the number and I said, look, if this is 6.5, the only way the Suns are going to cover this game is if it goes over, right? It's a correlating bet situation. The Suns, even though they can win an under game, Dallas can't win an over game with Phoenix. They're not going to. They don't have the scoring to match up shot for shot with Phoenix for 4 quarters. So Dallas is always going to win a game that goes under the total. And because this number is so big, if I remove that recency bias there, Scal, I can look at this game and go, okay, Phoenix can score 110 on their own in this game, even against a good defense like Dallas. If they get to like 107, right there, Dallas has to get to 100 if they have any chance to win the game. So that pushes me in that range that they're going to go over this short number at 214. So that's why I'm backing the over in this game, because if Dallas is going to win it, they're going to have to get to 105, or they have to hold Phoenix to under 100, which I don't know how likely that is.
Hold on. You said a lot there. Can I get the translation? You think Phoenix is going to win and it's going to go over?
If Phoenix wins, they're going to cover and it's going to go over. Right? Like if the game goes over, only Phoenix can win. Dallas cannot win a game against Phoenix that goes over the total, because that means Phoenix is doing a bulk of the scoring and Dallas can't keep up. So Dallas will only win games in this series that stay under the number.
Got it.
So with that 214, Dallas has to win this game 105-99.
I'm betting that tonight. You sound like
the wheels are turning. You're like, okay.
That makes a lot of sense. No, what you're saying is Dallas can't win a high-scoring game. So if you think Dallas is going to win, bet the under. If you think Phoenix is going to win, bet the over. Bang.
Right. Now, Phoenix can win an under game because their defense is good enough to limit Dallas's offense. So theoretically, this game could end 107-102, and Phoenix can win and not cover, right? Like that wouldn't shock me if that outcome came. But if Phoenix gets to 110, that means the only way that Dallas, if Dallas gets to 105, the only way that Phoenix can win is to outscore them, and that will push the total over. You follow what I'm saying here?
Yeah. And it's exactly what I thought with the series. If you asked me before the playoffs, they can't score enough. Like Dallas's defense is good. It's really good, by the way. But Dallas, if you go with the lineup that defends at a high clip, then they're not going to score. Like they're not going to defend enough. They defend at a high clip, they're not going to score enough. So you have to make these decisions. And I agree with you. Like it becomes like a big Finney Smith game because he could do everything. So he has to have like a lot of points for Dallas to win. Don't look at Luka. Look at Finney Smith and Kleba. And even when Kleba is knocking down shots, they don't score a bunch of points against a team like Utah, who when Rudy Gobert is out, they're terrible defensively.
All right, Scott, I'm going to throw 2 props at you for this game here. You tell me what you think.
Go ahead.
One, I'll throw the sweaty one out first because,
okay.
Why not? Devin Booker, over 2.5 threes, plus 125. Pure value play for me because I mean Booker played 32 minutes, in his return from that hamstring injury. Still not sure about his health because he did only go 1 for 6 from 3 in that game. But the games before that, knocked down 7 threes, and then the game before that, knocked down 4 threes. So, he can obviously Book can shoot. The volume is there either way. Even when you go 1 for 6, he's still putting up 6 threes, right? So I need him to hit half of those. I like the volume and I like the value because if Book's on, he could hit 3 threes in the first quarter, right? And at plus 125, I feel like that's a good price for that kind of bet.
Book it. Book that.
Book it. Book that one.
No pun
the
intended.
less sweaty one. This one, I feel like this one, I can just.
Yeah.
I can have my feet up in the half.
He'll go into the half with 2 threes that game. So book that one. You're good.
I hope you're right because if he has 2 threes in the first half, I'm feeling great. He can do that in the first quarter. He can hit 3 in the first quarter. Chris Paul double minus 125 on DraftKings. His points prop 16.5, juice to the over. Assist prop 9.5, juice to the over. Recorded double in 4 of the 6 games against the Pelicans, and 2 of the 3 regular season meetings between the Suns and Mavs. So I'm looking CP3 double in the playoffs. It just seems right.
I'm trying to think of a way where he doesn't get the assist. It doesn't seem like it. That's a better bet than like parlaying.
The points I feel like is more likely to not happen than the assist, but 10 points.
Yeah, agreed. So I can't imagine him not having 10 assists. And what are the odds of him having like 8 points? No way. Book it.
Minus 125 seemed like a good price for that as well. So you're a big fan of that one. You're just not a fan of the Tobias Harris rebounds. That's the only prop you're not liking today.
Well, I don't know. You can't plan for that. That's like luck. The ball has to back rim out to Tobias Harris from 18 feet. It's not like he's just going to be – you can't guarantee that he's going to be floating around the basket or anything like that. So I'm not – the one thing you could say is this. Tobias Harris is a decent offensive rebounder. What you could say is Bam Adebayo, they'll play small. He'll be on the perimeter. Maybe you could sneak in there and get an offensive rebound, a little tip in or something like that. So, yeah, but you're going to sweat that one out. So put that in and grab a towel.
There we go. All right, Scal, before we get you out of here, one final question. Got to ask you about your Bruins tonight. Your thoughts on the Bruins. Got any thoughts?
The hockey? What'd you say?
Stanley Cup playoffs. Come on, you're Bruins. You're guys.
Do I live under a rock or what? Like I had no idea.
You're locked in on basketball. All right, I get it.
Oh my God, they're in the Stanley Cup Finals?
No, the playoffs.
No, the playoffs are starting.
Get out of here. Talk to me when we're like, come on, man. I'm such a casual. I'm a casual of anything outside of basketball. I don't know anything else in life. Nothing. I'm not trying to be bigger than basketball. I am trying to just be basketball. I just want to shut up and dribble. That's it. That's all I want to do. You're asking me more than that. I don't do nothing but shut up and dribble. I'm going to Costco later on. I had no idea the Bruins were in, out. I have no idea what's going on here. So
there we go.
Don't ask me about
nothing but that's it.
You guys were talking about the golf betting, and you had the expert on. That dude knew what he was talking about. I didn't know, but I'll follow that guy. Whatever he said, I didn't know a single name in the golf except for Tiger Woods. I don't know anybody. You guys.
Hey, Scal, before you head out to Costco, I'm going to lay some odds. Minus 125 on toilet paper, minus 175 on paper towels, plus
the number wrong. No.
Oh.
What's the over/under on Costco?
Over under Costco bill.
I'm not kidding. No. I'm going to tell you my over/under, and we can get back to this on Wednesday. The over/under on Costco is 525. 525.
Whoa.
I'm telling you.
Are you stocking up on ribeyes there or what, man?
No, dude, you never know if the wife needs a new pot. I'm going with my wife. We're going. This is our date night.
Then you're in trouble.
The over/under on Costco is 525. And I don't know what
just keep her out of the house section, bro. Keep her out of the house for it. She'll find a new coffee maker that has, a strobe light and the GPS and gives out, horoscopes on a daily basis.
I'm taking the over on 525, but we'll find out on Wednesday. You guys create a bet, your own bet. Who wants Scals over on 525? Insane.
All right, well, we will talk to you on Wednesday, Scal. Thanks as always for joining us.
See you guys.
Okay.
Dude, Glaze. You were asking about the Bruins, and he had to lean into his microphone and go, hockey?
I mean, I just a generic. I mean, any thoughts on the Bruins? I don't know. I mean, I didn't mean to throw it. I didn't mean to just kind of throw them under the bus there. But all right.
That was worth the price of admission alone.
Let's talk some hockey. Though, we got some playoff hockey starting tonight. Do you have a play that you are looking for tonight on the ice?
All right, look, in general, no futures plays here, but I have backed Toronto because I thought it was good value and a good number. I know their recent playoff history and how they haven't gotten out of the first round. They got a huge, tough first-round matchup against Tampa Bay. For me, it's one of those years where I feel like Toronto, if they get out of the first round, they'll win the East, right? If they can get through the first series, they're going to be okay. The problem is that they so much struggle getting through the first series. But I do like Toronto at plus 500 to win the conference and plus 1,000 or plus 1,100, depending on where you shop, to win the cup. I think both of those are good bets and good value. That said, tonight on the ice, you know where I go when it comes to hockey. Come on, man. First period totals. Found one for tonight, and since I'm not on the show tomorrow, I'll give one out ahead of time. But tonight, Minnesota and St. Louis. Minnesota, the second highest first period over team at home, hitting 66% of the time against St. Louis, a team that is also overall on the year above 55% of first period overs. It's a little bit of a hefty price at minus 150, but give me over 1.5 goals in the first period between St. Louis and Minnesota. Tomorrow, on the lookout, New York Rangers, Pittsburgh Penguins, first period under 1.5 goals at minus 112. Two of the lowest first period over teams in the NHL all season long. Of course, you're getting the eventual Vezina Trophy winner in Igor Shesterkin in net for the New York Rangers. They will get a raucous Garden crowd. No goals going behind him in the first period. Rangers not a great offense either, so give me the under 1.5 goals in the first period tomorrow at minus 112. Get it now. That's a very good price for a first period under.
Love it, love it. I'm looking at a total tonight, full game. Blues Wild over 6.5 plus 100 even money on DraftKings. There, I love the value, and that's kind of what attracted me to this bet. These are two offensive teams here, and two teams that finished top 5 in goals per game. Blues finished 3rd, Wild finished 5th. And I'm looking at their regular season matchups. 10 goals in the first meeting, right? 7 goals in the second meeting, and 11 goals in the third meeting, averaging 9.3 goals in their 3 matchups this year. This just seems it seems too good to be true, which kind of scares me a little bit, right?
Well, put it this way, Glaze.
But the defenses aren't great, right?
Right. No, I mean, if I hit mine, you're likely to hit yours, right? If we get 2 goals in the first period or more, you're on your way. That's really, you need a hot start from both of these teams. I wouldn't rely on, usually these games, the goaltending gets better as they go along, not worse. So if you're going to score early in the NHL playoffs, and things will continue to go that way.
Agreed. And I'm looking at, just 2 great offenses and middle-of-the-road defenses on both sides. So even money, love the value there. All right, let's get out of here with our plays of the day. We got a 3-star play on the site, though, before you get to your plays,
I would tell you to go check out my write-up. It's not my 3-star play, but I'm just saying go check out my write-up on the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. It's there. Nothing for one play for today in soccer. Alex Hilton has both teams to score between Manchester United and Brentford, although tomorrow there is a best bet up already in the NHL playoffs between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers for Chris Moraes. So those are the 2 ones up on the site for today.
Love it, love it. Your personal play.
All right, going back to the diamond here for my play between the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm going to go under 8 runs in this game. Starters for today, Jordan Montgomery for the New York Yankees, a 2.7 ERA. He's 0-1 on the year. You want to know why with a 2.7 ERA? Because he has one of the worst run support in Major League Baseball, just getting 2.25 runs per game in his starts on average against Ross Stripling. of the Toronto Blue Jays. He's got a very solid 3.6 ERA. He also has terrible run support at just 3 runs per game. Of the previous 4 meetings this year, 3 of the 4 of them went under the total. The only one that did go over was in the bandbox they call Yankee Stadium. Give me the under 8 runs in the Yankees-Blue Jays game tonight.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, I'm going back to that Suns-Mavs game. I'm looking at Chris Paul, double-double, minus 125. I think that's a little. I mean, it's a little juicy. It's a little juicy, but not too juicy for me to pass on here. Minus 125 here. Points prop 16.5, juice to the over. Assist prop 9.5, juice to the over as well. CP3 has recorded a double-double in 4 of 6 games versus the Pelicans, and in 2 of the 3 regular season games between the Suns and Mavs. I think that Chris Paul is going to come out and handle business. I do not see a world in which Chris Paul comes out and doesn't get a double-double tonight. So that is going to be my play of the day.
Sounds good, bro.
And I think that will do it for us today. Let me check out the chat and see if anybody's saying anything worth touching on. Doesn't look like it. Oh, we got no, never mind. Nope, not going to mention that. That'll do it for us today. For Zeno, I'm Alex, so we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Good luck with your bets tonight.